Assalamu alaikum. You're watching Views and News, and I'm Faisal Rahman live from our Islamabad studios. Today, we'll be talking about the CPEC primarily and the progress on CPEC, the major projects since the Senator of Pakistan People's Party, Sherry Rahman, who is also heading the committee on CPEC, was also, in fact, briefed today about the overall updates, the current projects, and their standing. And now it is very important to understand where exactly we are heading. Whether we talk about Pakistan People's Party or Mr. Asif Zardari Saab, he was very keen for this project. Same continuity we have witnessed during the time of Pakistan Muslim League Nawaz. Whether you talk about PTI, it's there. Lieutenant General Asim Salim Bajwa is the person heading the project at the moment. And since it's been streamlined and now a lot of money has been poured in, and we have seen that it's kicking off now. A lot of people who have visited that site or they have seen those roads or the infrastructure projects, they hardly believe that this has been done inside Pakistan. You look at the bridges, you look at the roads, the level, the construction, the material, and the geometry, and on top, the architecture. It's brilliant. I think this is actually a game changer. But how long will it take till the time when we start receiving the fruit? Now, that is something pretty important. We'll be talking about that also. We'll also be talking about these special economic zones. What's the current standing regarding that? And what sort of hindrances we are still facing regarding this particular project primarily. It is also believed that now the Chinese would be investing around $400 billion in Iran, and they'll be getting cheap crude oil from them, and they'll be doing a lot of infrastructure projects for the next 25 years. And a lot of people believe that Chabahar could be in competition with Gwadar. But the Iranian president, Mr. Rouhani, has always said, he has said that these two deep sea ports will complement each other. So let's see how they complement and what should be the way forward. To talk about this, we'll be having Lieutenant General retired Raza Khan Saab, who's a senior analyst. Jal Saab, thank you very much for taking your time out, sir. And we'll be talking to Shakil Rame Saab, who's a senior economist, and he's doing a lot in the field of CPEC. Rame Saab, thank you very much for your time as well. And we'll be talking to Dr. Jameel Ahmed Khan Saab, who's a former ambassador. And let me put the first question to Jameel Saab now. First of all, sir, once again, thank you very much for taking your time out and talking to PTV World. Now, Jameel Saab, tell us about the current standing of CPEC. Since we used to hear that the first phase has been completed, now the second phase has started. Now, let's go phase by phase. Where exactly do we stand as we speak?
Shortly, CPEC is progressing the way it has been planned, and there is hardly any hiccup, which at times people had raised voice about it. But basically, those are on such huge projects. There are some teething problem to start with, and it has now been smoothened. So what is CPEC? We all, by now, I think your viewers also know a lot about it. But in the context, in the present day geopolitical and geostrategic context, it has further been gaining its importance with the changing circumstances of the region and the globe as well. So in that context, CPEC, which already had its significance for this entire region in a way that China, which was quite vulnerable in Indian Ocean, because it would take them about 5 to 6 weeks to transport its crude oil or all the goods and services to their border. Now, through CPEC, they would only take about 7 to 10 days, and they will have the safe route absolutely without any disturbance. So that is one aspect of it. Second aspect is the current phase of the CPEC, in which the economic zone would start now. That would be the tangible, measurable progress in terms of our economic future prosperity of Pakistan. So infrastructure development, once it takes place, it would not show its impact on the people of that region or that country like Pakistan. So now this phase is once completed, and even while it's being completed, it will generate employment. As we all know, that CPEC has generated employment in infrastructure, and altogether it's about 70,000 employment, which is direct, and about over a million employment in direct the CPEC is generated. Now, CPEC basically is the most important segment of BRI, which is Belt and Road Initiative of
Correct.
China. More than $3 trillion, $1 trillion has already been spent. Other, say the rest of the money is being spent on the projects of over 400 countries have already aligned with this project with China. So that raises the importance, not only economic importance, but it raises the importance of the geostrategic and geopolitical. And it's because of this reason that the United States, even the President of the United States, have raised its alarm that they would not allow China to enhance its influence in the entire globe the way it's growing. So as we all know that all the economic interest of any country or any big power for that matter or a small power is protected by its other military mights and by its geostrategic movements, and
Now,
which
now,
is
Jamil
happening
Sahab,
in
the
the
point
region.
is, I mean, if you could throw light on this very important aspect, inclusion of Iran at this level where the Chinese plan to invest around $400 billion for the next 25 years versus the cheap energy they'll be getting from Iran. And obviously, we do understand the kind of reserves they have, whether you talk about oil or gas or even precious metals for that matter. Now, sir, it seems that the inclusion of Iran is something very positive for Pakistan, not only in terms of geopolitical, but geostrategic also. How do you see that part, sir? Inclusion of Iran and the future of Pakistan and peace in Afghanistan. Can you relate these three parts, sir?
Well, it is all in positive direction so far as Pakistan's interest is concerned, and it's all at a disadvantageous level so far as India is concerned, and of course the United States' interest in the region. So that is in just one liner, but basically why it has become a game changer now, as we've been seeing about CPEC, actually the geostrategic game changing has taken place, or taking place once it's finally signed, $400 billion, 25 years. The most important aspect of this entire the geostrategic agreement, what Iran and China has made, is basically to have to remove the influence gradually from this entire region, the influence of United States, and of course, United States' biggest ally in this entire country is,
All right.
in terms of its population, is India, and India followed by, of course, Philippines, Japan, Australia, and so on. So that influence would automatically be reduced. As you know that we have the three choking point in this entire region. One is Babul Mandal, and Babul Mandal is about 8 nautical kilometer width, which can be choked anytime, and China has already secured by having its naval presence in Djibouti. Now, the second choking point is the Strait of Hormuz, which, of course, is again the most significant so far as the entire world is concerned. Anything, any oil, any petrochemical product which is being extracted from this region is taken out through Suez Canal and Mediterranean Sea and onward to
All right.
the
Ambassador
European
Saab, we have
countries.
also been joined in by Lieutenant General Raza Muhammad Khan Saab and Shakil Rame Saab, who's a senior economist. So you stay with us, sir, and let me also take the comment from General Raza Saab. General Saab, Assalamu alaikum.
Walaikum assalam.
Sir, thank you very much for taking out your time. Now, since we are talking about the CPEC and the kind of hindrances associated with it and the kind of prospects also. So, currently it seems that everything seems to be very much in control. But my question now, sir, since Iran has been also included in this huge mega project, and now we hear that the Chinese naval presence would be in the region somewhere. How soon do you see that happening, and what would it mean for all the allies of the Americans and the presence of the United States assets in the region, sir? What is that supposed to mean now?
Okay, Bismillah Rahman Rahim. First of all, the BRI as well as the CPEC, that is entirely an economic arrangement. And the arrival of the Chinese Navy or mercantile ships, in my view, has hardly any connection with it, unless the CPEC or the BRI is threatened from the sea. I do not see that threat coming up, and therefore I do not foresee any Chinese arrival of their ships. I mean, goodwill visits of multiple nations to Pakistani ports for call-on, is normal, and it has happened in the past. It is happening now. It may happen in the future as well. So that is one. The other is that I think all of us in Pakistan now should be very satisfied that the CPEC, which is the most important component of the BRI, has now been accepted and established as a vital national interest of Pakistan across the political divide. And in the past, you used to hear different voices, but I think luckily those voices have died down because everybody knows that it is going to be immensely beneficial for Pakistan and the people of Pakistan and all its provinces. And that is exactly the reason why India and some others are vehemently, they are opposing it. It is, as you said, very satisfying for us that CPEC is progressing despite, the situation created by COVID-19. In my view, I think this is a big achievement, and the implementation of the timeline has been intimated very recently by many government officials. I think that is a big achievement, and it was necessary, that this is done because COVID-19 had badly affected our economy, and there were dangers of the economy, the GDP growth going into negative. But because CPEC is going to add at least 2.5% to our GDP, therefore, now to know that it is going as planned, I think should be a great relief for the people of Pakistan and all those who are associated with the CPEC. Yes, Iran has shown, positive support for the CPEC. That is actually very encouraging. I've also read that very recently Afghanistan was also permitted to use Gwadar Port for imports of, a lot of import of urea and fertilizer for it, and a very heavy ship had come from Australia and it was offloaded in Gwadar, and that fertilizer was carried by road to Afghanistan. So that way, Afghanistan and even Australia has already become a part of the CPEC, although...
I think, Jalal Saab, this middle, when you look at the middle part, the northern part of Afghanistan, the Central Asian states in particular, they are full of energy resources, but unfortunately they haven't been tapped. I think this investment in Iran or Gwadar Seaport for that matter, this is going to be a huge initiative even for those countries. And if we play our cards rightly, I guess there's going to be a lot of economic benefit for Pakistan. But Jalal Saab, you stay with us. Let me take also Ramesh Saab on board. Ramesh Saab, Assalamu alaikum.
Wa alaikum assalam.
Ramesh Saab, first of all, sir, since we have been talking about this huge sort of mega project that has been recently announced, that the Chinese would be investing almost $400 billion initially for the next 25 years. I mean, that comes to around $18–20 billion a year. And a country like Iran, which is full of resources, again, you talk about gas, you talk about oil, you talk about metals, you name it, and they have it. And they definitely need a lot of infrastructure development. Now, this engagement between the Chinese and the Iranians, what is that supposed to mean for Pakistan?
Look, Faisal, we should not look at Iran and China agreement in isolation. We also have to keep in mind, few days back, there was Arab League and China forum meeting was held. At that forum, so China also extended its help, especially in terms of the imports from that region. And it also committed in 2018 the $23 billion in different sectors. Now they are enhancing. So China is not only working with Iran in the Middle East, but China is working as a whole as a region. China also included Israel. So it is a good news for us. because we have the relationship with China as Iran and as Arab countries also. But the real test would be so how Pakistan plan and execute its plans. We CPEC, we talk a lot about the CPEC, but we have seen before the CPEC authority and General Asim Bajwa, so the work was very slow. Definitely it's got the momentum now. But the second phase now would be the real test would be how much we are planning and diversifying for CPEC if we have to tap our new partners like Iran or the Middle East, other Arab countries. First, I'll give you one example. If we can work on that, the agriculture. If you look at the food market of the Middle East, Saudi Arabia imports 80% of its food. If we talk about the Qatar, it's import 90%. If we talk about the Kuwait, it also will import 90%. And UAE imports 85% of its total food consumption. That is a huge market. That's mean especially in the context of Saudi Arabia because its population is 35 million people. So Pakistan has to devise how we can diversify CPEC agriculture MOU with China to bring in the new partners from the region. We can also extend this service to the Iran. We can also talk about the other things from the Iran. The real test would be that planning. And second thing, the Iran and Chinese agreement, it was in air for a long time. I have there were different articles and data available on that in a few last year or before in the 2018. So there was an article in the Toronto Council. They have captured the real picture. For example, they said so Iran need $140 billion to improve or to bring its gas and oil sector production to the full scale.
$140 billion.
Yes, and in
Okay.
addition to that, Iran also needs $14.5 billion per year to modernize its infrastructure, roads, airports, and the ports for the 10 years. That's been 145 or 150 billion dollar. So that these two sectors, Iran need almost more than the 300 billion dollar. If we talk about the other social development projects like the electricity, job creation, or economic creation, these are the other sectors. Due to that, Iran was increasing its relationship with China. And in 2018, Exim Bank of China, they have given an $8.5 billion loan to the different 26 projects in Iran, including the highway construction, mining, and the steel production. Then again, China has also provided $1.6 billion for the electricity train, the Mashhad to the Iran railway line. So China and Iran they were cooperating already. So it is not a new news. And the Iran also gave that is the real point which we have to learn from the Iran. In Iran, they have the visa free for the Chinese tourists. So they are giving access to the Chinese tourists to attract them to build that relationship. Now compare with the Pakistani context. Now, no doubt we have the long-standing friendship with the China and everything. We say we are the Aryan brother. So what are we giving the visa-free access to the Chinese tourists? Are there the companies coming to the Pakistan? If somebody get it, so there is a huge crying is going on of what happened. So it's like there's a East India company like blah blah blah. So these are the different voices. So we have to learn the good practices from Iran.
All right, that's a lot of information. That's a lot of information. Now, Ambassador Saab, if you allow me, sir, since we've been talking about this in detail, now even the opposition, they have also shown a lot of interest and they have shown a lot of commitment. As earlier in the introduction, I said whether it's Pakistan People's Party or it's PMLN or even PTI, they are all on the same page when it comes to the Chinese investment in Pakistan, or for that matter, when you talk about these mega projects. I remember Zardari Saab himself said that, well, he was the architect of CPEC that has been going on. And he said, I've been going to China as a president for 8-9 times. So this is exactly what was going on. Continuity we have witnessed. And then, now, sir, when it comes to the real fruit, since Prime Minister Nawaz Sharif, I remember, once said that this is going to be a game changer, that is going to change the lives of at least 3 billion people. So I want you to throw light on that aspect, sir. When will it start? When we will start seeing the trickle-down effect? When can we visibly, feel that, well, this is because of CPEC? Ambassador Saab.
That's right. As I was just describing in my previous conversation, that the trickle-down effect time has started now. Now the special economic zone, its completion, it would be taking next about 3 to 5 years' time. And with this progress, gradual progress, we'll see the gradual prosperity in terms of employment, in terms of indirect job creation, in terms of small businesses, in terms of small contractors. Right. So this we'll start witnessing as we have witnessed, and I have served in various parts of the world, in Africa and Middle East and other places. So at the time of infrastructure development, the fruits are not reaped by the general population. Once the infrastructural development is completed, after that, then the actual economic development and economic prosperity starts. We have already been hearing the Chamber of Commerce leaders about the joint ventures and about their participation. There have been some very mild criticism about the participation of the local partners, but that has also been ironed out by now. The fact is that all the political party and all the institutions of the state, particularly armed forces, they are really helping this project to progress and to succeed. So that way, I don't have any concern of any kind of impediment of this project. That's one aspect. To me, the bigger aspect is that at the geopolitical level and geostrategic level, there are people who are opposing it, not only opposing it, but they are the enemy of this project, particularly India, and India backed by United States, as I was saying. And from that angle, as you already heard General Saab and Ramesh Saab, that the very cooperation of over 100 countries, and that is creating, and that is definitely changing the whole dynamics. Economic dynamics, yes, but as I was saying, that all the economic interests of countries, particularly bigger countries, they are supported by their military mights. So China, you might have noticed that, and your viewer, that China has gone so advanced in terms of their latest technology that the NATO, in NATO, American envoy, he says that China has weaponized itself in the space, and then the United States would now find difficulty to support their allies in the region. So that is where the geostrategic interests are concerned. So Pakistan now economically, coming back to your point, definitely would start witnessing, coming 2-3 years, they will start witnessing about the benefits of it. But we are more focused on protecting our interests so far as this strategic project CPEC is concerned, and because of which different blocks have been made. Now, name of Economic Cooperation Bloc, ECO, names SCO, and then the block on the other side, a string of alliance, as we know, and a string of pearl, as you know, the American alliance and the Chinese alliance, and all these ports which are being developed. This ultimately would definitely have its military importance, and then that would be honed with the economic interest. And that's why I was mentioning about Babul Mandal, which is just about 19 kilometers width, which has its importance. The South China Sea, the state of Malacca, has its huge importance, where you have maximum presence of the warships of United States.
Sir, in the seas of
that has its
Philippines, there were 3 aircraft carriers. Now there are 2 stationed in the South China Sea. So that is something also very, very important.
highest presence of the,
Yes.
and that is not for just playing games there. It's basically showing each other their influence and their
it's the muscle you have to show.
capability.
Exactly. Now, we'll just take a short break here, Jalal Saab, and after the break, then I've got a few more questions for you also. We'll just take a short break here, Ji. After the break, we'll return and we'll continue our show.
इजलास में मरकज़ी रोह-ए-तिलाल कमेटी पाकिस्तान के जो अरकान शरीक हुए, उनके अस्माए गिरामी ये हैं مفتی محمد ابراہیم قادری، مولانا سید عبد الخبیر آزاد، مفتی محمد عارف سعیدی، مولانا حافظ عبید اللہ پمر، علامہ ڈاکٹر عبداللہ غازی، مولانا محمد ظفر سعیدی، مولانا حافظ عبد المالک بروہی، مولانا محبوب علی سہتو، علامہ پیر سید شاہد علی شاہ جیلانی، جناب آغا گوہر علی، اور جناب غلام مرتضیٰ، ڈپٹی چیف مینیجر اسپیس اینڈ سائنس سپارکو، اور ہمارے نئے ممبر جناب ڈاکٹر طارق مسعود صاحب، جوائنٹ سیکریٹری وزارت سائنس اینڈ ٹیکنالوجی، ہم ان کو خوش آمدید کہتے ہیں۔ وزارت مذہبی امور کی نمائندگی جناب ڈائریکٹر جنرل جناب سید مشاہد حسین نے کی، اور جناب سردار سرفراز صاحب جو یہاں پر چیف ہیں محکمہ موسمیات کے، انہوں نے اجلاس کی سہولتیں فراہم کی اور فنی معاونت کی۔ اسی طرح پاکستان نیوی کے لیفٹیننٹ کمانڈر منظور احمد صاحب نے فنی معاونت کی۔ زونل رویت ہلال کمیٹی کراچی کے جو ارکان شریک ہوئے ان کے اسماء گرامی یہ ہیں: مولانا حافظ محمد سلفی، علامہ سید علی کرار نقوی، مولانا قاری نذیر احمد نعیمی، مولانا قاری محمد اقبال، اور مولانا صابر نورانی۔ جناب حافظ عبد القدوس ڈپٹی ڈائریکٹر وزارت مذہبی امور نے رابطہ کار اور اہتمام کے فرائض انجام دیے۔ اس کے علاوہ ملک بھر میں زونل رویت ہلال کمیٹیوں کے اجلاس ان کے متعلقہ ہیڈ کوارٹرز پر منعقد ہوئے۔ پاکستان میں بیشتر مقامات پر مطلع برآلود تھا یا غبار آلود؟ پاکستان کے کسی بھی مقام سے چاند نظر آنے کی کوئی شہادت موصول نہیں ہوئی۔ محکمہ موسمیات کے تمام مراکز سے بھی عدم رؤیت کی رپورٹ دی گئی، لہٰذا اتفاق رائے سے فیصلہ کیا گیا کہ 1 ذو الحجہ 1441 ہجری جمعرات 23 جولائی کو ہوگی، اور عید الاضحیٰ انشاءاللہ تعالی ہفتہ 1 اگست کو ہوگی۔ بسم اللہ الرحمن الرحیم۔ الحمد للہ رب العالمین، الصلاۃ والسلام علی سید المرسلین، سیدنا و مولانا محمد وعلی آلہ وصحبہ اجمعین۔ دعا کیجیے رب العالمین آنے والے ماہ مقدس کو تمام امت مسلمہ کے لیے، ملت اسلامیہ کے لیے और अहले पाकिस्तान के लिए अपनी रहमतों, बरकतों, नेमतों
Welcome back after the break. Now, Jalal Saab, since we had this break, meanwhile, we also got to know that the Eid al-Azha would be celebrated on the 1st of August, that is Saturday. We just got that breaking news. So, Mubarak to everyone listening to us. Now, Jalal Saab, coming back to the CPEC part. Now, two important areas. One is since we talk about the tourism industry, the Prime Minister is so keen to boost this particular sector. But obviously, we do understand because of COVID, things are not that great. There has to be, a lot more than what we are already doing. Now, looking at the sea, the white sand beaches, the kind of development taking place in that part of the world, it doesn't even feel that this is actually Pakistan. It seems as if, this beaches of Maldives or some other place maybe. It is so beautiful. Don't you think that this is the time now to, in fact, start working on the tourism part also, and that particular development where you can make resorts and where you can have proper road access? There are such beautiful places in Balochistan. Jalal Saab, I'm sure you must have visited most since you've served in military and you get a lot of chance to travel. Your take on that part, sir? Don't you think that could be actually a game changer for the people, sir?
Yes, again, from my side also, Eid Mubarak in advance to you. So coming back to the question, I totally agree and support your contention that Pakistan is a beautiful country. The security environment has tremendously improved. Gwadar is one area which I think people from outside and even from Pakistan can come and enjoy the beauty of Gwadar. And in addition to that, there are, I think, scores of other places in Pakistan which I think the world can see. Remember, when you link this question with the broader objective of the BRI, which is to connect three continents, that is Europe, Asia, and Africa, the BRI comprises 68 countries. So if Pakistan, through the CPEC, is providing the most important land corridor, for the BRI, then obviously there is a lot of scope for at least all these 68 countries, to be grateful to Pakistan for doing whatever it is doing. Of course, they could come and visit Pakistan at any time that they want. Also, the BRI is, according to the World Bank, I think more than 80% of the global growth in the 21st century is going to comprise the BRI with over $1.3 trillion. And we are talking of sustainable development of every sector of the economy, which includes the tourism sector also, the tourism domain. So I think it is going to be a win-win for the entire world, of course, except those, who are opposing the CPEC, and they are actually trying to create false propaganda and create false narrative against that. But I think everybody has understood the motive behind that. You were previously asking, of the immediate benefits. So I, made a mention of the addition of 2.5% to the Pakistan GDP. It is already, I think, coming in. People can see it. The addition of 75,000 new jobs. I think it is there on the horizon and it is happening. And as the phase 2 progresses, this is going to increase. The special economic zones are going to be responsible for bringing the transfer of Chinese technology in the manufacturing sector to Pakistan, and the Pakistan industry is going to tremendously benefit from that. We know that our economy is agrarian right now, but industrialization is needed. When we talk of investment, in the infrastructure, then in the past our focus has been on the roads, and we have those beautiful highways made, but now once we are talking, and I think probably it will be in the first time in the history of Pakistan that our railway infrastructure is going to be tremendously improved, and the amount of money that is being earmarked for that, I think that is unprecedented. And we hope, that, and because, the railway is much cheaper and more affordable, and all over the world, trade is transported mainly through the railways, and the railways, share will also increase, from 4% to probably about 20%. So it is going to give sustenance to the railways as well, and it is going to provide sustenance to the CPEC as well. So all these things, are wonderful things that are happening. Pakistan and China have together dispelled, the false propaganda against the CPEC that Pakistan would fall into a debt trap by stating very clearly that, the entire loan as it relates to CPEC is less than 10% of the total loan of Pakistan, and it is a very long-term loan of 25% at less than, the interest rate is less than even 2%. At times it is 1%. It is much lesser than the IMF loans. So I think that propaganda has fallen flat also. And I see, the CPEC now going in the right direction at a very fast pace. But I'd like, that like the Chinese have provided constitutional protection in China to the BRI, I think we need to provide it formal constitutional protection as well. And it should not be difficult because there is total political consensus on that. And the last point that I'd like to make is that, because SARC is almost dead because of the Indian intransigence. So therefore, I think the CPEC and the BRI should be promoted by Pakistan through the OIC and, in the other platform, so that,
I think
there
the
are
SCO
more
is playing a
openings
very,
that
very
come
Shanghai
towards
Cooperation
Pakistan side.
Organization. SCO is playing a very, very important role.
Yes, I agree, SCO, BRICS, although Pakistan is not part of BRICS, but I think all the international forums which are going to, which can benefit from that, I think Pakistan and China should do that. Also, please remember that, the recent assertiveness of the government of China vis-a-vis the aggression, the Indian aggression in Ladakh is also noteworthy. And we now hope, that the Indian threats to damage the CPEC, from Gilgit, Baltistan, or from Ladakh would also now be eventually over. Although, Pakistan was fully prepared to thwart the designs of the Indian designs from that direction. But now, because of, the Indian efforts to change the status of Kashmir, I think that policy has also not worked. And China has come up very openly to protect its own interest, and I think it is also linked with the Chinese and the Pakistani interest to protect the CPEC.
All right. Last quick comment, Ramesh Saab, over to you now. Since I was talking about Sherry Rahman's was also briefed about the CPEC, but there were three primarily the areas she was talking about. And she was actually very satisfied on the overall progress, and she says that a lot has been done. But quickly, sir, on 2-3 accounts. Number one, she also mentioned about the energy sector, that is the power sector primarily. Obviously, you did talk about the agriculture side, and we have already covered the tourism part. But so when it comes to the overall feel of the CPEC, a lot of people still believe that this is primarily about the infrastructure, roads and railway links and the pipelines and all. But this is mega. Talking about the communication side, let's throw light on that aspect, sir, quickly.
The problem is the engagement strategy of the government, because first of all, every party is fighting to take the credit. But if we look at that, the history of that, once Akram Sir told me that the Chinese were planning after Shahr-e-Karakram to go for a corridor. here in the Pakistan. One thing, and second thing. So if we look at modern, if we're talking about this present one, the first signs of this aspect came from the President Musharraf's visit to Beijing in 2003. So we need to come out of this credit game. That credit game, for example, if you look at this on the social media, if the one government start any project, the other government say, "Oh, we started this." Don't say like that. It's a Pakistan project. Everybody is playing the part. So that these political parties have come out of this phenomena of that taking the credit. So if you can communicate with the politicians, tell them please come out of that mentality. Talk about the national project of the CPEC. One thing and second thing, we are unable to highlight the benefit. For example, so the Chinese Overseas Port and Holding Company not only developing a Gwadar port, but it also developing the social development infrastructure. And there, for example, they have erected a new school there. They're also investing on the training of the people. They're also investing on the plantation of tree there. They're also promoting the image. But how many people talk about the Chinese overseas port holding that they are doing these things? Everybody will talk about the port, but nobody talk about what they are contributing to the community.
Ramesh Saab, we are running out of time, but I really want you to also talk about quickly about the science and technology. I was watching a television news story about Joe Biden, and he was talking about innovate in America. Like we talk about make in Pakistan, so that is something also very interesting. But when we talk about the inclusion of science and technology, that aspect also in CPEC, do you think, I mean, certain number of universities, innovation, high-tech stuff, that is the need of the
I
hour,
think Pakistan,
basically?
yes, Pakistan have signed the agreement with the Chinese Academy of Social Sciences. We also have signed the agreements. We have signed the agreements with different universities. We are also having cooperating with the different science and technology organizations in China. On top of that, the Chinese company are also investing in the technology like Huawei. Huawei is doing a lot on the training of the manpower, especially for the 5G technology, and they are the networks in the Middle East and Central Asia. They are using the Pakistani labor force, and they are also building their capacity. And Pakistan also have signed this MOU on the science and technology, but it need more efforts because China is a big power. You can say one of the superpower in the technology. If we look at the interview of the President Trump, he clearly said the main purpose to oppose the China is like that they don't want to let any country benefit from the future technology, and China is clearly ahead of them. That's why they want to put a check on China, but I think the time has been gone. But Pakistan can benefit from there. Again, I come back to the same question. We have to come out of rhetoric. We have to talk about the planning. And I'm happy that the new CPEC authority is doing that. So they're doing this part, but they also need to do more on the part of the future planning.
All right, Ramesh Saab. All right, thank you very much, sir. General Saab, it was a pleasure having you. Thank you so much, Ambassador Saab, for your input as well. And it was a pleasure having you, Ramesh Saab, as well. And that's all we have for this hour. Inshallah, I'll see you tomorrow at 8. Till then, you take good care of yourself. Khuda Hafiz.